Hello, everybody. Buddy with Midland, Texas. I've done several videos talking about what I call the oil show party murders, and then I've had a lot of people that ask me, what's an oil show? And that's a fair question if you're not from this area. And so I wanted to explain here, what an oil show is. Here, I'm at their website. And you can go there yourself on the internet, pbios or you could Google it, and that stands for Permian Basin International Oil Show. The oil field that we're sitting on here of Midland Odessa is sitting on the Permian Basin oil field. It's the largest oil field in the nation. Okay, and so and I'm at their website, and I'm just going to go kind of like the about and the history of it. And it says the Permian Basin International Oil Show is a 3-day gathering of producers, service companies, investors, innovators whose ideas are exchanged, friendships are made, and deals are born. Okay, a biennial event. Since the end of World War II, the oil show has grown to represent the very fabric of a great industry. Okay, it serves an international marketplace. So people from all over the world fly into Midland, Odessa to go to this oil show. Okay, if you're in the oil business, because this is about the oil industry. Okay, but what the other thing that happens during these during this week of the oil show is the after hour parties, and that's much like Vegas when they have the the convention for crock pots or whatever, and all the crock pot people fly into Vegas and they all get drunk and then they're prostituting and drinking and all that. Okay, but so you can imagine a similar thing here. The after hour parties that go on are infamous. But there's one other thing about this. There's a lot of extremely wealthy people in the oil field. Okay, a lot of billionaires here. Midland is one of the richest cities per capita in the nation. Okay, and so I just want to show you that. Another thing I want to show you is just some comments I've grabbed off the internet talking about the oil show. Okay, and I said the oil show parties are famous. Now I'm talking about the oil show. I'm talking about the parties that go on after hours. And this guy here, Chris Reed, he posted on an old Midland group. He says after I very first moved to Midland, working for a multi-billion-dollar oil company, I remember hearing talk of these huge secret parties. Okay, and that's where that's where I believe these secret parties is where the murders are happening, and that's where it's talking about. Jessica Lee Hadley here, and that was a conversation we were talking. I've been to 2,000 oil show parties, and I'll tell you what, there's more than just that one girl that was murdered or raped because she didn't do whatever they wanted her to do. And then my friend, the late Victoria McKinney, she tells me a story about a friend of hers that was brutally raped at an oil show several years ago, and she said that's why I stay away from them, And then this one I think is extremely important. This is a local woman from this area, Tisha Ann Wilkinson Brumley. She says, I've had friends and been involved in those oil show parties. They're exactly what you say. They are underground homes. Let that sink in. So the oil show parties are into underground homes, and that's what I suspected, and that was confirmed by Tisha. Okay, and so I just wanted to talk about that. Okay, the other thing here, we're going to do a little interactive here. Okay, we're going to go to my address. You can go to Google. Okay, there's Google. Put in my address, 3802 Fair Circle, Midland, Texas, 79707. And this is what you'll pop up. Okay, so we're just going to click on it. Anybody can do this. You can do it right now. This is live off the internet. Okay, you see that red dot? That's where I'm at right now. That's my home. Okay, that's where I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in the attic. And I'm zooming in. Okay, and what I want to show you here, the big Home Depot store right behind my house. Okay, and then here's my house. Okay, and what I want to call attention to, and this is like a live map right now off the internet, is this large building in my backyard. Do you see that large building? Okay, everybody sees a large building in my backyard. This is the neighbor's house, east neighbor's house. This is the west neighbor's house. Here's my house. This is where I was ambushed and shot. Large building in the backyard. We are going to go in my backyard right now. I'm going to take you out there. I'm going to show you that there's no large building there. Okay, I believe that is one of the underground homes where the oil show parties were going on. Okay, so let's go out there. This is my backyard. Nice warm day here in Midland, Texas. And there you go. Okay, as you can see, There is no large building in my backyard, okay? That building, though, I believe is there. I believe it's underground, okay? Because I got multiple people documented saying that underground homes are here. And I'm going to show you a list of them in a minute. A lot of these are recording. One guy was running for sheriff, okay? I secretly recorded a guy running for sheriff telling me that our last sheriff, Gary Painter, used to hide out down in these underground homes there, okay? So I just wanted to show you that interactive, that there it is right there on the screen. The other thing you could do is go down here and click on satellite and switch that over, and you'll see in my backyard, you can't see it, okay? You switch it back to map screen, there's that building in my backyard. That's important because I got multiple people documented saying underground homes are here, okay? I'm going to show you another thing. This is Google Earth. Google Earth is a downloadable application that's free, and you can get it off the internet. A lot of people are familiar and use it. So you do a search, and I did a search for my address, 3802 Fair Circle. That's what we're going to do, search. Okay, and there it is. Zooming in to my home, and that looks like the Google Maps screen. Okay, I'm gonna show you. There you can see the Home Depot store behind my house, okay? You can see my backyard. You're not seeing that underground home there, okay? Because this is the satellite picture, okay? And this has a feature, that's why I went over here. This button up here, right here, this button is historical, show historical imagery. So I'm gonna click that button and I get a bar, okay? And then I can go back in time, and I'm gonna go back to around the time I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, okay? That's 28, 29, 2011. There we go. Okay. So this was June 2011, 6 months before I'm ambushed and shot by somebody under my home. What I want to show you here on this picture is right here. You can see behind the Home Depot store that they cut a ditch. You can see where the asphalt's a different color coming directly towards my house. Okay. I believe the people that were going to the oil show parties were parking in the Home Depot parking lot, going underground there and using this tunnel to come back here. And in the backyard is one of the 4 underground homes I was told about. And I was told about a young girl that was murdered at an oil show party in 2010. This is interactive, so you can download that and go look at that yourself. Okay, that's another. If you're law enforcement, that might be something, for your law enforcement training, how to solve murders. Okay, so here we go. Let's get into Crime Stoppers, unsolved crimes here. Okay, the Midland County Sheriff's Office, Texas Ranger, asking for assistance in the investigation of the discovery of unidentified human remains. On August 1st, 2013, the unidentified human remains were discovered at oilfield location Midland County, 10 miles south of I-20. The remains were determined to be a black female that was only determined earlier this year, 14 to 21 years old at the time of death, and 59 to 67 inches tall. Okay, this is unsolved murder of a little girl. Okay, you got that right now. Current unsolved murder, remains found. Okay, now here I want to show you something and here's the schedule for the 2010 oil show. During the week of the oil show, okay, this is the schedule. October 25th, that's the Monday when it started, and this is what was going on all week. It was during this week that my friend Angie Mungia Herrley told me about a young girl that was murdered at an oil show party she was going to. Angie was leaving my home and at the party in 5 minutes. I just feel sure she drove around to the Home Depot parking lot, parked her car there, went underground somewhere there, come back via that tunnel that I showed you on Google Earth, and in the backyard is one of the 4 underground homes. And that's where I believe that young girl was murdered at. Okay, so I want to show you that. That's why I call the oil show party murders. It should be real easy for law enforcement to figure that out. Now I'm going to show you something else. This is the schedule for the 2008 oil show, okay? This was right before I transferred into town, okay? I mean, actually, I was about a month before I come into town, okay? The previous homeowner dies, okay, on October 12th, and the oil show started on October 20th. And in the backyard, they were having the oil show parties. Now, what, ain't that a coinky dinky, okay? I mean, do you think that's pretty amazing? He was 27 years old, 2 little boys. And let me show you here about Mike Lawhon, that died the week before the 2008 old show started. There he is right there. There's a picture of him, and it's showing, his family and all that. But I want to show you the Odessa American, the newspaper over there. They posted the first death notice, and they said he died in Fort Worth, okay? And 4 days later, they posted a revised second death notice and changed the location of death to say he died at his residence. Okay, look at that. You ever seen that in your whole life, where they changed the whole town somebody died in, right? Okay, here's what's amazing. A former neighbor of mine that lived across the street, Marilyn DeLuigi, told me twice that Mike died in my house, okay? And the Odessa American first said he died in Fort Worth, and then changed the location of death, say he died at his residence, okay? His death certificate says he died in Fort Worth. I believe he was murdered here and taken to Fort Worth, and it was because of the oil show parties that was starting up the next week. I wanted to show you that's the real important on the timing, okay? And one other thing here, let me show you this picture I've done so many times. That's a screenshot showing you where the tunnel is right here coming, that I believe was used for those show party murders, showing where I believe the underground home is at. Okay, one of the 4. And then I'm going to go over this long list right here. And this is in other videos I have. Proof of underground homes and tunnels is one of them. And it's saying, law enforcement could solve the murder of this little girl, right? All they have to do is expose the underground homes. And how do they do that? They find the tunnel entrances, and they just talk to these many people I've documented. They could talk to Rhonda Denman Rogers, who I documented, saying that an underground facility is a half block away. Obviously, she knows. She didn't say 2 blocks, okay? Keep that in mind. There's a phone call. I provided that to law enforcement, where the woman told me there were 4 3-bedroom, $1 million underground homes here. She said they're having pedophile parties down there, and that would make sense, because that remains of that little girl was 14 to 21 years old, okay? Screenshot, Ricky Ronaldo said him and his brother used to live in my home, and they would go in the tunnels here when they lived here, okay? Phone call, Layla O'Brien said that these underground homes were put in for George W. Bush, 1987. Actually, she said it was $7.35 million. She named the company she worked for as an architecture company, and on a recorded phone call, and said it was called the Safe House Project. I believe that's what was going on here. That's where the oil show parties were happening. That was in 87 when they completed it. Phone call, Joe Lozano, he was running for Midland Sheriff during the election for sheriff, and I secretly recorded him. He's saying Painter used to hide out down here, and that was hidden from the public by our corrupt press. They didn't tell the voting public about that. It could have changed the election. Police report and the cameras that proved officers Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and L were under my home on the night that I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, okay? And I've got many videos about that, but keep in mind that they illegally withheld the police report for 7 years. I didn't get it in 2019, and the police report's what time-stamped Dickey inside my home at 11:05, and he wasn't seen arriving on the security cameras. All my other doors were secured with extra locks, as noted on the police report. That's how we know he came from under my house. Also, here but not seen was Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and L. Here's Angie Mungia Herrley. She's the one that told me about the young girl murdered at the oil show. And you know what? Angie was afraid to report that murder and told me that high-level police were at the party. And then right after that happened, I get a call from a Midland police officer on my company cell phone that threatens to arrest me if I talk to Angie again. Okay? So, I mean, that's all leads for real law enforcement, the ones that are trying to solve murders, to follow up on and find out. Because obviously, whatever police officer called me was trying to cover up the murder of that little girl. Okay? Google Maps shows a large bunker in my backyard can't be seen above ground. I showed you that. You can go look yourself. And then the video of concrete being poured behind my home after I showed Homeland Security where I believe that tunnel was located. Okay? Because Homeland was supposed to be taking care of human trafficking, and that little girl was murdered because she refused to prostitute. It's a forced prostitution murder. And that's why I contacted Homeland. It looks like Homeland is actually working with these killers that are forcing little girls to prostitute at underground oil show parties. Okay, and then the screenshot of Lance Eggleston here. It says, "We have access to your residence at all times. Nobody will ever believe your story. You will be silenced, not if, but when." That's only one of the many death threats I got. But obviously, Lance knows about the underground access to this home. I'm going to show you here. This is from a video here, right here. This is where they're pouring concrete behind the Home Depot store. I was back there 2 weeks earlier with Homeland Security, showing them where I believe this human trafficking murder tunnel was located. Now, but you know, there's real possible that the DNA evidence for that little murdered girl is in that tunnel. But I got a feeling they filled it full of concrete after I showed Homeland where I believed it is. And it's just absolute lawlessness what is going on here. I mean, we need to expose the underground homes. There's 4 of them, and solve these murders. The murder of Mike Lawhon, the murder of the little girl, the capital attempted murder of my life. This is Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.